Yes.
We were just talking about places that you used to hang out when you lived in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. And I told you that I didn't really go to a lot of places in Waikiki. Sometimes I would. And there were some times that I would go to places downtown. Like I told you, I think Big City Diner is a restaurant that I'm not exactly sure where it's located, actually, now that I think about it. But that was one of the places that my mom and I would go to.
Even when you moved to the mainland to live with your uncle and aunts, who are not in Bel Air.
No.
You got in one little fight and your mom got scared. But even when but you would still go back to Hawaii every summer, right?
Every summer or every other summer.
And the other summers you would just spend here in the mainland?
Yeah, if I was busy, if I couldn't go.
So it wouldn't be like to another island or anything like that?
There was one summer I went to Maui.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, we went to Maui for maybe about a couple of days. Mom got a hotel for my sisters and I and my sister's friend that came to visit. It's not all that.
Oh.
You know, it's not what you think it is.
Okay.
Yeah. She was an interesting girl.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was interesting about her?
I don't know. She was cool at the time. There were times where her and my sister wouldn't be getting along, but I think they get along better now.
Was this a friend of your older sister or your younger sister?
It was a friend of my twin, and she's not that much older than me.
She's a full minute older than you.
It doesn't matter.
You know? They say that you need to respect your elders, babe.
She's not that much older than me. She was born on the same day, but a minute older.
Well, technically, she is still an elder.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Whatever you say.
I think I hit a sore subject.
No, not really. I just don't agree with you.
That's fine. You're allowed not to agree. You're allowed to be wrong.
Yeah, you're allowed to be wrong too.
I am, but I so seldom am wrong, though. That's all.
I don't think so.
One thing I really miss about Hawaii is L&L.
Yes.
Even though I'm told that they have one here in Portland, it's somewhere that isn't very close to where I live.
Right.
Plus, they serve meat, and I no longer eat meat.
Right. That's a shame.
I love their katsu chicken curry.
Oh, I never had that, but I love chicken katsu. Chicken katsu is like one of my favorite Hawaii staples.
With mac salad.
Oh, yes.
And you never went to Mr. Mike's.
I don't think so. No,
That
I
was
don't
really
think so.
good.
Mm-mm.
It was pretty close to where Revolution Books is at, which I know you want to go to.
No.
But they have pretty good food. It was kind of similar, except it was slightly cheaper and you got bigger proportions.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt that they're still around, but while they lasted, I really enjoyed their stuff.
There was a Filipino place in Oahu called Max of Manila, and they're known for their really, really good fried chicken, and it was good.
That sounds amazing.
I do not know if it's around, but the last time I went there, I think it might have been in might have been between 2005 and 2008.
Wow, that would roughly be around the time I was living out there.
Yeah, it was good.
I remember in the Ala Moana shopping center, I might have told you this before, but there was this cart that had this amazing chicken with sides like gravy and mashed potatoes, obviously. Oh. And I wish I remember the name of it, but I'm horrible with stuff like that. But I really enjoyed it.
They also, so I don't know if it's around anymore, but you've heard of that restaurant Ruby Tuesdays, right?
Yes.
Oh, they had one at the Ala Moana.
Yeah, they did. I've been to that one.
Yeah, I think I have too, and it's really good. Their burgers were good. I think I had a burger the first time I went. Their desserts were good.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they have a blue cheeseburger there?
Yeah, I believe they did.
And
I believe they did, yeah.
They had that salad bar.
Yeah, and then you could have like ribs with like 3 different kinds of sauces if you wanted on the side. I remember the last time I was there, it was New Year's Day. My dad took me and my sister out, and I had ribs with, there was like a sweet sauce, a little bit of a spicy sauce, and I can't remember the other one, but it was really good. All the sauces were good.
I remember going there once before First Thursdays, which is the big poetry slam at Ala Moana, which I'm pretty sure they did not do when you lived there.
I don't think so, because I left in 95.
But you used to visit a lot, though.
Oh yeah, but we never went to poetry things, so I didn't know about that. And had I known about it in 2005,
you could have gone.
I could have gone. I know, yeah, but I wasn't even thinking about that. See, it didn't even cross my mind.
You could have met me earlier.
I know, but I mean, I don't know if
you could have fallen in love.
I don't know if we would have liked each other back then, though.
That's true. We were very different.
You know, you were different. I was different. I had my mind was on other things. You know, I wasn't thinking about.
I mean, in many ways, I'm completely different than I was just 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that in relation to yourself?
I think I've been the same since 5 years ago. I don't think much has changed.
Do you think that's a good thing?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
Because I think that I didn't really start to think about the things I really believed in until I was in my late 20s, like mid to late 20s. And I'm talking about like political stuff, not so much the other things, but I really felt like by the time I was 28, I started to mature a little more. You know, I think that's when I started to really think about things that are now important to me, and they were less important to me before I was 28.
But why do you think it's a good thing that you haven't changed much in the last 5 years? Other than you have better taste in men.
I mean, just because I don't think there was anything significant that, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I think I've improved quite a bit in the last 11 years.
But not the last 5, though.
The last 5...
You've just kind of been coasting.
No. I mean, we improve all the time. Yes, of course. We improve all the time. I'm you know, we're always improving. But when I'm talking about, like, my maturity level, and I think we all mature every day if we only let ourselves mature. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Let me see if I can interpret what you've been saying to me so far.
Yeah.
You've been saying that you had significant life changes about 10 to 11 years ago.
Yes.
When you became more politically aware. However, within the last 5 years, it's not that you haven't grown, but you haven't had any dramatic...
I haven't had it... Yes, exactly.
It's more been these slow increases
changes
in your philosophy, slow changes in your philosophy.
Yes, absolutely. I think you're right. Yes, not any like dramatic really huge life changes necessarily.
How has getting into politics made your life better?
Because
you know what it's like to be wrong.
No, I'm not talking about who's wrong or right. Although I think you're a lot of times wrong. But
most of the times I'm right.
No,
go ahead.
No. You are on the dark side of the moon. No, because before I really got into politics, I didn't realize how important it is because I was not interested in it. I didn't think it had any significance to me. I didn't think that it really affected me, but I realized after learning a lot about it, I realize that it is important. I think it is important for everyone in our country to know what's going on, because if you don't know what's going on and somebody is voted into office that you don't like, well, you have to...
I know that feeling all too well. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. As do I. That you don't like or you didn't want to be in office, then you should vote them off. You should vote them out in the next election. And I think it's important for us to know about.
So what was the catalyst for you getting into politics?
Because I was confronted by someone who shall not be named.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to put any names in this podcast. That really questioned why there were politicians I didn't like. And I understand why, because the only reasons I could give is because basically what I was saying is that I heard it from said sources, and this is what they said, and I believe what they said, but I didn't do any research. And I realized later on that because I didn't do any research, I was very ignorant about a lot of things, about this person and other people. And I realized then that I didn't want to go by what other people were saying, but rather what I researched on and actually make my own decision and not have anyone make my own decision, make the decision for me.
To play devil's advocate, when you do research, aren't you still going by what other people are saying? Because you're going by what the people who you're researching are saying, right? So it's like if I decide to do research and I consult the Wall Street Journal, and that's my main source, then all I'm doing is going by what the Wall Street Journal
Well,
is
it's
saying.
not just like one source, though. I don't think you should limit yourself to just one source, but several sources. Whether it's shows, whether it's articles, and then you have to make your own decision. You have to come to your own conclusion based on what you read or based on what you heard, and make up your own mind. But I think it's good to see it from both sides of the story and not just one side. And I think over the last 11 years I've been doing that, and now I understand. Now I have taken a lot of stances on things that I probably wouldn't have if it was like 15 years ago when I didn't know anything.
So 15 years ago, you were more liberal then?
Not necessarily. I wasn't. I think I was actually conservative before I even knew what that was. I don't think I was liberal at all. I just didn't understand the issues. I didn't understand the issues, and I didn't understand why these issues were so much of a hot button. So much of a thing that would push people. So much of a controversial thing. And now I understand more. A lot more than I want to.
Well, there's still room to go.
There's still room to go. And there's still room for you to grow.
I expect to continue growing until the day I die. Having said that, I think politically I'm pretty much on the right path.
Mm-hmm. I have an opinion about that.
And the opinion is you're too afraid to admit that I'm right, but hopefully one day you will come to accept.
No, I think you're too. No, I think you're too afraid to admit that I'm the one who's most right, because you don't want to admit that you're actually wrong.
Well, I would admit that I was wrong if I felt I was actually wrong, but I don't feel I'm wrong.
I think you are.
Other areas of my life I'm probably wrong, but this area I'm pretty close to being accurate.
Not really.
I don't know.
Not really.
I don't know. It's interesting. When I was living in Honolulu, I became familiar with the works of Robert Greene. And you are currently in the middle of The Art of Seduction.
It's quite a long book. I haven't even... I'm not done, obviously, with the second part of it. But
It took me a whole hour to read it.
Well, that's because your player was like 10 times the speed that it usually is.
No. It did take me longer than that. I'm just making that up. But,
I didn't think it would take an hour, no.
Tell me what you've been thinking so far.
So the first part of it, like we've talked about, as far as the person who is seduced, it's very interesting. And how, I don't always agree with what he said about that, as far as people are more likely to be seduced, if they don't have anything going on. But some people that do have stuff going on in their lives can be seduced as well, if they let themselves be.
But what do we define as having something going on? Because somebody could, on the surface, have a full life, right? They could be married, they could have beautiful children and a job that pays them a lot of money and sounds like a great gig. However, if you look beneath the surface, they could be spending beyond their means. They could have a bad relationship with their wife. Their kids may be doing horribly in school or just bad people. And they may not like their boss.
That's true.
So what do we define as having something going on?
I don't know. He didn't really specify. I mean, he just said that, a person who, like a man who couldn't be seduced by a woman is somebody that has that is businesslike. I don't know if I agree with that. And then we're to the second part of it, where it's talking about the seductive process. And the part where I ended up on is, mirroring someone's tastes and getting into their spirit, which I think is kind of interesting. Getting to know their thoughts, getting to know their ways, getting to know what the things that they like. Interesting. It gives he gives you some things to think about.
I think he's a great author. Having said that, this is my second to least favorite book of his.
Really?
Yeah, so I love the 48 Laws of Power.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the 33 Strategies of War and Mastery. I like the book he did on 50 Cents, but I think it's out
50 Cents?
Yeah, he did a book called The 50th Law.
Okay.
And that's probably my least favorite book of his, even though I still really, really enjoyed it. His books are on a whole nother level to me, and they're great. And I would say this one is just slightly above that book.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But it is good. It's just very long.
It's good. It's just not as good as, his best work.
Right.
And one would make the argument that you shouldn't really judge an author by their best work because that's their best, And is it fair to compare everything to your best work?
Right.
I do want to read his new book, The Laws of Human Nature. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Okay.
How likely are you to read another book by him?
I don't know. I will have to tell you when I'm done with this one. Because I just feel like I'm probably halfway done, but it just seems like a long time because I've taken a lot of breaks from reading it. Or listening to it, rather.
The Golden Girls isn't going to watch itself.
Not talking about the Golden Girls.
Will and Grace?
Will and Grace. Yeah, I know. It's not going to watch itself.
No.
Friends isn't going to watch itself.
No.
And Perfect Strangers is not going to finish itself, because I'm almost done with that show.
I remember on our second date,
yes,
you told me that you were watching Perfect Strangers.
I know.
That was close to a year ago.
I know, because I've just taken a break and I'm watching 2 other shows. I've got Will and Grace, Home Improvement, and Perfect Strangers.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, I know. Yeah, because sometimes I'll start on one show and then I'll continue with another show. I also have to find out where I am in Rick and Morty, because I completely kind of put that on the back burner, and then I haven't finished BoJack Horseman. I also haven't finished the Ted Bundy documentary.
Yeah.
And I also want to listen to Wild Wild Country.
Wild Wild Country is amazing.
Yeah. It sounds interesting too, because I heard a little bit about Rajneesh's religion, or a cult, rather. Cult following. A little bit.
He seems like an interesting man. I told you that I have about 100 hours of him lecturing that I got from Audible a few years ago, and I just haven't listened to it yet. But I want to at some point, especially after seeing the miniseries on him.
Oh, so you just... Oh, that's right, because when did you finish it?
I finished it about a year ago, but then I started dating you, and I haven't had the time to really...
Are you saying that, hey, that hasn't stopped you from watching BoJack Horseman twice?
True. That's true.
Or 3 times, or whatever, 5 times.
How many times have I watched BoJack Horseman? I think I've seen the first 4 seasons 3 times.
Oh, goodness. Really?
Yes. But it's the best show on TV right now. Don't you think?
I mean, I'm not as into it as you are. I do like it. But I'm probably going to watch it once and not watch it again.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm just not... I mean, I like the show. There's some pretty heavy stuff in it. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm probably not as into it as you are.
I just think that once you get past this first season, it's so well written, and the way that they blend drama and comedy together is really like a master class in writing and creating a television series.
Right.
I can't think of any show that's currently on that's better. In my opinion.
Yeah.
I have been watching old episodes of Married with Children the last week.
I know.
You know, because I've talked to you about it several times.
Oh, yeah, you talked to me about it. What was that one episode you were going to tell me about today that you were going to tell me earlier today, and you're like, I'll tell you about the episode later.
Oh, was that the one? Oh, God, do you remember the context?
No, you said something like, I think it might have been something that so-and-so said at the open mic thing today, and I can't remember what it was when you referred to Married with Children, and you're like, oh, I'm going to tell you about that one later.
I think this is one. Remember, I got literally like 2 hours of sleep last night.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit out of it.
Okay.
And yesterday was a hectic day, right?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And we don't need to go into the details.
No.
But, no. If I remember right, it was... and I hope I'm telling you the right one, because there's so many ones I would like to talk about.
Yeah.
It's the one where Steve and Marcy agree to watch Kelly and Bud when Al and Peggy go on a vacation for the weekend.
Yeah.
So they go on vacation, and, you know, Steve and Marcy are like these, you know, very nice but super educated people, right?
Right,
And they're, you know, they're vegetarians, they're readers.
Uh-oh, they're vegetarians, wow.
Right.
They're readers.
You can't trust those people.
Well, I never said that.
Okay.
I'm sitting next to one.
Oh, yes, I am a reader.
And a vegetarian.
And a vegetarian. So anyways.
For shame.
So
I'm just kidding.
So Al and Peg go out of town.
Yeah.
And Kelly and Bud are over at their place.
Yes.
And Bud starts getting into their stuff. Kelly calls up her friends, and eventually she breaks down Marcy, and Marcy says, you can have some of your friends come over.
Yeah.
And I forgot their name, but one of their names was like Killer or something. And they're sitting around and they're talking about them, about Steve and Marcy, like they're not even there. Like they're saying, what time did these old people go to sleep so we can take stuff from this house, right?
Yeah.
And then Peggy calls and says, hey, we're planning to come back a day early.
Yeah.
Steve answers the phone and he says, no rush, we'll see you when you get here in an hour.
Yeah.
So they hang up the phone, and Marcy's like, no rush, these kids are driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Kelly says to her, I really want to have a party. But Peg said that they promised the police that they wouldn't let Kelly have another party.
Oh.
But Marcy hears this and she's like, okay, throw a party. And she explains it to Steve. Well, you know, by the time the party gets started in an hour,
Yeah.
Peggy and Al will be pulling up. They'll see the party and they'll see how irresponsible we are.
Yeah.
So they'll never let us watch the kids again.
Yeah.
Steve thinks it's a great idea. Then they go back to Al and Peg's hotel room. And Al and Peg are really enjoying each other. They start to make love. And then you hear Peg say, should we call them and tell them that we're not coming home tonight? And you hear Al say, why bother? They said it was no big deal. And then it flashes to Marcy's house.
Yeah.
Tons of kids just breaking everything.
Oh.
And she's thinking, they're going to be here. They're going to be here any minute. They look out the window and then the episode ends.
Oh. That's funny.
It was a great episode.
They're going to be here. They're going to be here any minute.
And meanwhile, they're like a day away. They're just having fun in the hotel room.
Wow.
Now, that is a great show.
Yeah. I said before I wasn't too into it.
There's definitely episodes that aren't that great. And I don't think the last season holds up. Having not seen it since, it originally aired. But
Yeah.
I remember not liking it when I saw the last season.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think the majority of that show is really, really funny, and it doesn't get the credit it deserves. Because it is on the surface a very low-brow show.
Yeah.
But if something makes you laugh, it makes you laugh, regardless of whether it's, on PBS or on Married with Children.
I just think it's funny, like the name of the show is Married with Children, but when you watch it, and granted, I wasn't too much into it. Like there's so many different I don't know what you call it, innuendos in there.
Yeah,
a lot of innuendos actually, and it's in a Sunday lineup with some shows that were more family friendlier, like In Living Color. I think.
Would you consider In Living Color a family-friendly show?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I knew girls in my grade that liked In Living Color, and I liked it too.
But that, you were hanging around with the bad girls, though.
No, I wasn't.
Oh.
I didn't necessarily like the girl who liked In Living Color, but...
Because she was a bad girl.
she was a bad girl, and she was mean to me. But that doesn't mean that I didn't have that. That doesn't mean that I didn't like it.
I loved In Living Color.
It was a great show, yeah.
And I loved Married with Children as a kid. Having said that, my parents were maybe a little bit too loose on what I was allowed to watch.
I did watch Married with Children, but I wasn't interested. I think it was more obviously more for adults than you know.
It definitely was not a Disney Channel show.
It definitely was not a kid show, for sure.
But I thought it was a great show, and I'm so glad that upon rewatching it, I'm seeing that it's still holding up.
Mm. You know what other show I used to watch when I was a kid, and I thought it was kind of funny, was the Gary Shandling show.
That was a great show.
Yeah.
And I remember he had like this weird car on the show.
Mm.
Like this white car. I really liked that as a kid. That was not a Fox show, though.
Yes, it was.
No, it aired on Fox.
It did? Okay.
But it was originally on Showtime.
Oh, really?
And I think they made some weird deal to where they could re-air the episodes on the Fox Sunday night lineup.
Mm.
But it was not a Fox show.
Really?
Yeah, still a great show, though.
And you told me that you used to watch Inside Herman's Head. That was a weird show, too.
I haven't watched it since it originally aired, though.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's really in syndication anywhere.
Right, I don't know, but it was a weird show. There was, I thought the premise was interesting, where he had all these voices in his head: the sensitive voice,
the lust voice,
the lustful voice, the guy the one that senses danger. What are you doing?
I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
Okay. The one that senses danger. And what was the other one? There was another one. It was like all these voices would talk in his head during the show. I thought that was kind of interesting.
I don't know if I'd like it now because it's been so long.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think the first time I watched it, I was probably around 11.
See, I was probably around 8.
Yeah. Around that time, yeah.
I want to see Rock.
Oh, yeah,
again.
Rock. Rock is a good show.
And I would love to also rewatch Martin.
I didn't get into Martin either. I mean, I know a lot of my friends did, but I was not really a Martin person.
Yeah. What are you doing with your leg?
Oh, I was moving my flute out of the way.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that hurts.
Oh, sorry.
So I wasn't really into that, but I remember Living Single used to be on the Sunday lineup too, and I love that show.
I remember it being on Thursdays.
It was also on Sundays too.
Okay.
It was on Sundays at one time.
Oh, that's right. And then they moved Martin to Thursdays,
yes.
And they moved The Simpsons back to Sundays.
Yep, and then they moved Living Single to Thursdays.
That's right. That's right. And that's probably when I started watching it.
Right.
Living Single, that is. I was already watching Martin.
Yeah, I enjoyed that show. I really did.
Martin aired against Friends.
Did it?
Yeah.
But then it was like, oh, what, did it really? I didn't know that.
When they moved it to Thursdays.
Yeah.
Which I think was the first season of Friends.
Mm-hmm. It was.
Yeah.
In 94, yep.
And then
Martin was just getting
started. And I just had to go with Martin because it's such an amazing show.
So is Friends.
Has a lot of white people.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether they're black or white.
No, that's true.
It doesn't.
It don't matter if you're black or white.
Yeah.
So you never saw the episode where Martin won the lottery?
It's been a long time.
I really like that show because the typical out would be that he would have lost the lottery ticket or that he would have misread one of the numbers, right? And that would have been the excuse on most sitcoms.
Yes.
But the way they did it on Martin was so brilliant. It wasn't any of that. He won the lottery. Mm-hmm. He buys all this great stuff. Mm-hmm. And you think that, one of the endings that I said would have happened. Mm. But instead they go down, and what they realize it wasn't just Martin who won the lottery. It was 3,000 other people won the lottery too. And I thought that was such a brilliant take on it.
Interesting.
Much better than the Webster take.
The Webster take. What happened with that one?
It was such a stupid way to do a lottery episode.
I think, what was it? Was it like towards the last episode?
I don't know. I wasn't as big of a fan of Webster as you were.
Okay.
But...
And I did watch Webster, but only the ones that were shown, the seasons that were shown. which I think they should bring back the whole show.
Oh, you mean on Hulu?
Yes.
Hulu's bad because they'll have like random episodes of a lot
I know.
But
yeah.
the Webster lottery one, they buy this lottery ticket, they're reading out the numbers,
Yeah.
and ma'am was supposed to buy a lottery ticket with everybody's age on it.
Right.
And George is like, oh, we won because it's your age. And she's like, I lied about my age. And I thought I saw that when I was a little kid, and I remember thinking that is the stupidest thing ever.
Oh.
That they would make an episode like that.
Well,
That's
I mean,
the
this
stupidest
was...
out of them winning the lottery.
Well, you remember it's a children's show. You know, it's for families.
Yeah, but I'm not saying you have to do anything X-rated, but you can come up with a better ending than I lied about my age, so I can't buy the
Well, not X-rated. I wasn't thinking about that.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's not like she loses it in her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
Speaking of shows, and I don't believe you've watched this, but I remember on the UPN network, I keep thinking CW, it's UPN.
Yeah.
They used to have a lineup on Mondays. It would have a one-on-one with the guy's name was Flex Washington in the show. I don't remember what his name was in real life, but I forgot. But that was kind of a fun show. And then they had this other show called Girlfriends. I was at the later on in the time slot. Have you ever seen that show, Girlfriends?
It sounds familiar, but I don't recall seeing it.
It's with Tracy Ellis Ross. She's one of the main characters in the show.
Okay.
So there's four. Is it four women? There's four women. There's Tony, there's Lynn, there's Joan, and there's Maya. Maya is the only one that's married in the first seasons of the show.
Married Maya.
Yeah. It talks about these girls and their struggles with men and work and things like that, and it was a good show for when it was on, and I used to love that show. I'm going to see if I can find it.
I never really got into a lot of the shows from UPN.
Yeah.
I liked more of the shows from the WB. But even then I wasn't really, outside of Buffy.
Right.
And Buffy kind of went downhill.
Yeah, the WB was great.
Buffy went downhill when it went to the UPN, I thought.
Oh, I didn't realize it went to UPN.
Yeah, but Angel didn't go. But Buffy went to UPN, I think for the last 2 years. There were some really good episodes, but overall it wasn't as consistent as it was when it was on the WB, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. So, Alana, Jaylo.
Yes.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I'm pretty full right now. We had a really good dinner.
What do we eat?
We had some baked potatoes with some sour cream and cheese and 2 different kinds of salts. And did we do butter?
We did not do butter.
Okay, we didn't put butter in it. But it turned out really good. And the best part of it was the fudge.
The fudge was really good.
The fudge was really creamy today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Delicious.
I really liked both of those.
Yes, I loved both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't just like them, I loved them.
You love them. I'm surprised you didn't marry them.
No.
Like Pee Wee Herman with the
Marry the
fruit
salad. The fruit salad, yes.
Fruit salad.
Yeah, it's like, you probably love it. You're gonna ask it to marry it. Marry you.
Yeah.
It's like, do you take the fruit salad?
And then you took the fruit salad to a movie theater and it was all over.
Ew.
But
That's disgusting.
That's disgusting.
Hey, you're the one.
You
who
know
said
that story, right?
Yes. Anyone that doesn't know about Pee Wee Herman
You can Google it.
would not know about that story, but it was disgusting.
It was very disgusting.
Yes.
Ha ha.
I can't do it.
I can't do it either.
He has a very strange voice. I actually heard an interview with him, and he sounded rather normal. To be honest with you, like he actually had a normal life, and
Well, that was the character he played on the show. He's not really
No, I
like
knew
Pee Wee
that.
Herman in real life.
no, I know that. Of course I know that.
Okay.
But I
Good.
mean, Paul Rubenstein doing that thing, in the movie theater was odd to me.
He lost his
about
show
that.
because of that.
I didn't realize that was.
Because
I heard about the incident, but I didn't know he lost his show because
The news story was so big that ABC canceled Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Oh,
Which is really unfortunate.
that was a great cartoon or a great Saturday show. I liked it as a kid.
As a kid, I liked it. I don't really remember that well, besides for him marrying the salad and Cherry. And the laugh.
And the special word of the day, the secret word of the day.
I don't remember that.
Every time they'd say the word, they would scream "ah!" and the alarm would go off.
This sounds funny.
And then they had the flowers were there. They had these flowers that were talking, and
oh, that's right.
yeah, the talking flowers, and so several characters.
You know who helped create that show?
Who?
Phil Hartman.
Really?
Yep.
The famous Phil Hartman from Saturday Night Live.
Yep.
Wow. Well, no wonder why it did so good when it was on.
It was a great show.
It was.
From what little I remember.
I love that show. Yeah.
I'm not going to go to any movie theaters with him in the near future.
Right.
I don't want anything
It's like I'll give him
upside the head.
I'll give him money to buy me some stuff at the concession stand, and then I'll watch a different movie at a different theater.
Yes.
Like here, Paul, give me some candy, and then I'm gonna go. Give me back the change, please. And then I go to a different theater.
Have your fun. Bring some batteries.
Oh wow. Okay.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No. Is there anything else you want to
No.
talk about? No.
Not that I can. I'm sure I'll come up with 50 things once we're done, but I didn't sleep much last night, so.
Oh. Is it time for a nap?
Yeah, alright, we gotta wrap up.
Yes, I think we should wrap up.
And Alana Jaylo, good talking to you.
Yes.
Alana Jaylo.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.